What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a very snowy day in Stockholm. In today's video I want to give you guys 5 quick tips for driving a rear-wheel driven car in the snow and ice, based on my experience of driving my BMW M2 for the past 2 seasons. So without further ado, let's find my car and get this video started. Oh crap. Okay, so the obvious first tip is to clean your car, but don't do something like this or even this. No matter how efficient you think it is. Try something like this maybe. Much better, is it? But I left out something really important. Much better. Another quick tip is that before you set off, make sure to clean the snow from your wheels as well, because if it starts piling up, it becomes heavy and it will cause quite nasty vibrations in your steering wheel as you drive. So now, let's get this car rolling. And this conveniently brings me to point number 2 on my list. Don't get stuck, duh, like you see in this image. But if you manage to get yourself into such a situation, your best bet is to disable the traction control so that the wheels spin freely and start to slowly balance the car back and forth. And as soon as you feel the wheels start to gain traction again, keep going forward until you're out. Another thing you might want to avoid is getting stuck on ramps or hills or whatever you may call them. It's really important, if you have a rear-wheel driven car, to keep the wheels spinning, because if you stop for whatever reason and underneath your rear wheels you'll find a patch of ice, you're basically screwed. Here's an example. This might not look like a steep hill to climb, but if you stop the car on it and the surface underneath is slippery, this happens. And the only way to get unstuck, so to speak, is to gently go down the hill until you find a dry patch and start the climb again. Let's say, for example, I have a car in front of me and we're going up a hill, and on top of that hill there's a stop sign. If I see the car in front of me preparing to stop, I'm actually gonna slow my car down just so I don't have to stop along with the car on top. Because that's the whole idea. Keep your car running at all times and avoid stopping, especially on hills. Tip number 3, and this is very important, especially for cars that don't have 4-wheel drive, is please buy proper winter tires. I can't stress enough how important that thing is in order to have proper traction on your car. And if your budget allows it, try and not buy the cheap ones. I mean the really cheap ones. And for the love of God, please do not use all-season tires. They're pretty much useless on snow and ice. So, tip number 4 is a change of attitude. And that basically means that BMW drivers, such as myself, need to turn into Volvo drivers for the winter. And that of course means no more pointless full throttle accelerations in the middle of nowhere, keeping a proper distance between you and the car in front of you, no more tailgating, sorry guys, and keeping the car with its traction control on. And that's very important because that's what you're trying to avoid during winter, is wheel spin. And believe it or not, the DSC system in BMWs are actually really good nowadays, and they will keep you out of trouble. A good thing to remember when driving around town on roads full of snow is try and not drive in parallel with other cars, especially if the snow has piled up on the middle of the street and to the sides, because that essentially means that instead of a 2-lane boulevard you have a 1.5-lane one, and if you push the throttle just a little bit too hard and the back goes, you'll most likely hit the car next to you. So if you can, avoid running in parallel with other cars. And while you're at it, try to keep a safe distance between you and other cars. So that brings me on to the last point I want to cover today, and that's having fun, which I think is the most important thing to do when driving a rear-wheel drive car in the wintertime. And in order to do that, you have to follow 2 simple steps. Traction control off, and then find an empty parking lot and just drift the damn thing. Oh, yes! And you know what the best thing about drifting in the winter is? You can do it at very slow speeds. Look at this. 20 kilometers per hour. I often found that it works much better if there's snow on the road and not ice patches, because when you have ice, you tend to spin the car 360, basically. So there you go, my friends. These have been my 5 tips on how to drive a rear-wheel drive car in the winter. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I had lots of fun filming it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for plenty more videos to come. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.